Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And you may be thinking, did you get your hair done? Yes, I did get my hair done. I have been having a couple days of self-care. So I got my hair did, I got my nails did, I got my pedicure, and I got a 30-minute massage. That wasn't all today. That was the past 2 days. So thank you for noticing. And yeah, I'm going to forewarn you that my brain is not thinking. I don't know what it is. It's days like this that I feel like that cognitive deficit thing. It's been happening all day long. I had a really difficult time talking to my hairdresser. Like, I kept just not being able to fluidly talk to her. And I'm having the same problem. So I just recorded about 10 minutes of an episode and I just lost what I was talking about and I couldn't get it back. I was like, I sat like looking at the computer and thinking like, what was I just talking about? And I just could not. So I kept it recording and I was saying, I just can't think of what I was saying and what I wanted to say and what I don't know. So my brain's not working very well. And it's something that I deal with time and time again. And I don't really know what is causing it to be this way today. It has been, I did walk all the way to go get my nails done yesterday, which is something that I do like once every 2 months. And it's maybe 3/4 of a mile, something like that. So maybe that had a big impact. And then I had to ride in the car today and all this stuff. So it might be that I just have overloaded my head and my symptoms and everything. So I'm just going to forewarn you here. In the previous recording that you're not going to get to see, I was talking about my act of kindness today. And I followed that by saying, I really don't feel comfortable continuing to talk about my act of kindness because it feels like I'm trying to make myself sound like I'm some superhuman being. So I'm not going to share my act of kindness, but I'm going to encourage you to keep doing your acts of kindness for April. Mine today had to do with a couple different families and just extending my, support, we'll just say. So keep up with your acts of kindness. One act of kindness today, it can be as simple as giving someone a compliment, holding open a door for a stranger, or just sending a thoughtful text message to a friend. So yesterday, we'll see if I can get through this without getting lost in my own brain. So yesterday I talked about how our family members see us when we're putting forth all of this work in recovery and how they may feel neglected because while we're being introduced to what we need to do to stay sober and therapy, whatever recovery you're in, all the work that we have to do for ourselves, they are not privy to that. They're not present when we're learning this from people in our fellowship, from our physical therapists and stuff like that. So sometimes they feel neglected. Like, why are you spending so much time with these stroke support groups or these sobriety meetings or fellowship or going out to dinner with your sponsor and all that stuff, and they may get jealous. I talked about jealousy yesterday. Well, what I wanted to talk about today was the other side of the coin, which is sometimes when we feel that we're putting forth all of this effort and looking at the other people in our family or in our relationships that don't appear to be applying as much effort as we are. And that can cause some resentments. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because I've heard this over and over again over the past month from lots of different people. So I wanted to talk about that feeling that our efforts for wellness and improving our relationships feels like it's a solitary effort. And I wanted to talk about living amends and where that fits into all of this. It's coincidentally, it's not a coincidence at all. Incidentally, I don't know. Anyway, the folks that I've heard about it from are folks that are earlier in sobriety, and I think that they're all about the same time in sobriety, and I feel like it might be something that has to do with just kind of being tired of working so hard to be a better person when we feel like the people around us aren't working as hard to be better versions of themselves. And that can get really tiring, you know? So I want to talk about healing relationships through the steps of the program. So in recovery, we're in this process of self-improvement and healing, and it demands so much introspection, and it's like emotional weightlifting. That's what I was thinking of. It's like when I go in and do my push-ups every night before bed. There's nobody on this planet. I mean, I shouldn't say that. You guys know that I go in and I do 10 push-ups every night before I go to bed. Well, if you guys didn't know, pretend that I don't have a podcast. Nobody really knows that I go in there and put forth that effort because I want to be strong. That's all it is. I want to be able to take care of myself. If, say, my husband's not around, I want to be able to lift things and push things and take care of things that need to be taken care of. But I don't go around talking about how, typically, I don't go around talking about how, oh, well, I do push-ups. Oh, do you like, and showing off my arms and stuff. I'm really doing it as something that I think it only impacts me. And sometimes I'm going to bed and I think, I don't feel like doing push-ups tonight, but I do it anyway. And then sometimes I feel like, well, I'll do a plank instead, like a 1-minute plank instead. But either way, I'm trying to put forth some sort of effort, not only to get stronger, but it also helps loosen up my muscles before I go to bed because I just am like tight all the time. So if I equate that to the work that I put in on my inner to make myself emotionally stronger or mentally stronger, doing that constant weightlifting every day can feel, you just get kind of sick of it. And doing that every day, in sobriety, doing all these sobriety activities, attending meetings, working the step, and constantly looking at our own behaviors and thought patterns can be really frustrating when we look at other people or we interact with our loved ones and they clearly are not thinking about what they're saying before they say it. And sometimes they're not thinking about what they said after they said it. And yet we are committing to this lifetime of effort. We have to be consistent. We have to persevere even when it's not easy. All of this work for us is aimed at abstaining from alcohol, but it's also to transform ourselves on the inside in order to be able to, like I'm saying about doing my push-ups and wanting to be strong and wanting to pull things and push things on my own. Well, doing all of this work is not just abstaining from alcohol, but being able to manage our lives without mind-altering drugs, being able to look at things in our life and pick them up and push things and pull things and being strong enough to handle that. So there's frustration when we commit this relentless effort to rebuild our own lives when those around us don't seem to be putting forth the same kind of effort. And this can lead to feelings of isolation. I don't even want to be around this person because it's so aggravating that they're not even trying. That would be an example of a thought. It can lead to feelings of fatigue. I'm tired of doing it. I'm not going to do it anymore. F that kind of thing. And being resentful and just waiting for that minute to explode on the person. It's times like that it's most important to lean even further into your program. It's not time to lean away from it, to give up on it. It's actually time to lean in further, because that's what the program helps us with, is isolation, fatigue, resentment, all of that stuff that makes us want to give up and not deal with things and drink instead. It's like I imagine it's like I'm kayaking and my family members are watching me on the side on the shore while I'm kayaking upstream, and they're just throwing all their full water bottles into my kayak and just making my kayak even heavier, making my effort be more. I don't know if that's a good example, because I think when you make a kayak heavier, it's easier to paddle. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. They're not cheering us on. They're just adding weight. That's what it feels like when we work so hard and our loved ones don't seem to be working hard, don't seem to be trying to work hard. Now, I want to say that I am absolutely, by no means, zero of me is talking about this because it applies to my family. I have not felt this way. So I want to be clear, because the last thing I ever want to do is have one of these podcast episodes and have it come across like I am insinuating something about my own life to my own family, because I know you all listen as well. So this does not apply to me, but it's something that I've heard over the years so many times about folks that work really hard at their recovery, and yet their spouses don't seem to be trying to work on it at all. Some folks try to go to couples therapy while the alcoholic wants to go to couples therapy, but the non-alcoholic doesn't want to go, doesn't think that they have a problem. So it's natural, that's part of being in a relationship, really, I think. So I think in this situation, it's important to take a minute and step back and look at the perspective of our loved one. So I am the alcoholic and looking at my loved one. What I need to do when I'm getting frustrated with somebody around me who I feel like I'm working really hard at being a better person and I don't feel like they're putting forth any effort, I need to stop and remember and acknowledge the wreckage of my past and the impact that my alcoholism had on that person. My journey into sobriety was not just a personal battle. It wasn't just, you know, something that I had to do and didn't impact anybody. I created a storm in my wake, whatever I was doing when I was drinking, and everyone that was close to me got impacted by that storm, got knocked over. Some people got turned upside down. Some people just got blown over. So while I have, and I talked about this yesterday, while I have the structure of a recovery plan and a fellowship and people that to guide me, I have a sponsor. Sorry, I have a sponsor. Our loved ones, those people that I hurt, are trying to heal on their own without a program. And sometimes the pain that we cause makes them go into this victim mindset. And there's a lot of different ways that they are going to need to consider how to deal with that and how to heal. And as much as we want to help them, it's their journey. And as long as we invite them to be a part of our journey, if they refuse to do that, then that has to be theirs. They have to own that. We can't own that for them. But what we can do is this concept of a living amends. So I don't think I've talked a lot about amends. I don't recall if I had an episode on amends. I feel like I didn't. So making amends in sobriety is trying to go back and acknowledge your role in the relationship, your role in what may have occurred due to your drinking. And typically these amends are direct amends where we seek to, through actions or words, we seek to rectify how we've wronged the person. A living amends is more about making a decision to live a new way of life in order to demonstrate our commitment to living out the principles of recovery. That means in all of our actions, we're demonstrating this sincere behavior, this demonstrating our transformation from the inside out. And a living amends is an ongoing process. It is a way of life that is intended, seeks to repair the damage of the past by us being a better version of ourselves every single day. And that, I believe, is where the impatience is born. Sometimes I think those of us in recovery can feel like we have done enough. We've righted the wrong. But the pain that we have caused the other person may run deeper than we ever realized. And it can take much longer than we expected to build the trust and foster forgiveness in the other person. There is no set time frame. There is no guidance in the program for how long it's going to take to resolve somebody's anger against you due to X, Y, and Z that you did to them. And sometimes, unfortunately, depending on who we're dealing with, it can take a lifetime. Sometimes we'll never get it. We'll never get the forgiveness. And I think that's when difficult conversations have to happen. Other times, no matter what we did, the person is just grateful to have us sober today. And you never know what you're going to get. The character traits that a living amends requires is patience and empathy. And healing is reciprocal. It is, as much as I am putting forth the effort to heal myself, I'm hoping as I heal myself, I'm helping them heal. And hopefully it's happening the other way. But we all have to do it in our own time. And there is this constant, silent self-talk that, I've heard myself saying it. I still do. After 7, almost 8 years of sobriety, I still have these times when I have to silently remind myself, understand then to be understood. That's the one I think that sticks with me so strongly. It's so solid inside of me that when I start feeling aggravated, I think, understand then to be understood. And it is like automatic for me now. And it's something that has to stay with me for my entire life. It's a way of life. It's not going to happen in a year and then I get to just relax, relax and not have to go to so many meetings and read so much literature. It's a way of life. And regardless of how those around us change and what they do, we still have to be committed to our own change, and we have to be committed to stay changed. And I feel like continue to evolve and continue to get better, always get better. We're never done being a better version of ourselves. So embracing this idea of a living amends means accepting that while the effort in recovery might seem lopsided, the work we do on ourselves benefits not just us, but everyone around us. And it has a ripple effect. Our individual efforts at self-improvement foster a broader home environment of healing, forgiveness, and communication. And that's something that communication, I haven't mentioned that in this episode. I talked about it yesterday. Communication is really the answer to all of it. Time takes time, and recovery and living amends takes time. It doesn't just take time, it takes a lifetime. And it's a path of many steps taken alone, but aimed towards collective healing. I remember going to sobriety meetings the first year of my sobriety, and I remember thinking on some of those days that I didn't want to stop and I just wanted to go straight home and put on my pajamas. I remember thinking my family we're all gonna heal from me going to this meeting. Like, we're all gonna get something from me going to this meeting, not just me. Even though I'm the one that's taking in the information, that information is indirectly being disseminated to those people around me just by way of how I behave. So, that's all I have for today. So thanks for joining me, and thanks for being patient with my weird brain today. And hopefully I will be in less of a brain fog as I feel right now. So thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you tomorrow.